I'm Kate.
I'm Abong.
And I'm Sonia.
And today we are dishing with you from Fahrenheit in the Ritz in Georgetown, located at 3100 South Street.
And it is ritzy in here with these fantastic drinks.
Yes, it is. We are all enjoying specialty cocktails, sliders, and quesadillas.
It's Lent, I'm not drinking.
Oh, way to be good. I'll drink for you. I'll have that after the show.
And our guest today is Jennifer Mascia, who is the author of Never Tell Our Business to Strangers. We have the book right here. And that's what, actually, this is funny, my mom used to say this to us, never tell our business in the street, or never tell our business to strangers.
Dirty laundry.
It's a very old school thing. Never tell your business to anyone outside of the family because you can't trust them.
And is that what the whole book is about? When you tell too much and things go horribly wrong?
Well, yeah, I mean, for a long time there were a lot of family secrets, and I wasn't supposed to talk to anyone outside of the family because it would be embarrassing to my parents, and that's the whole irony of the title, I guess, because now I'm telling my business to everyone.
So this is the memoir. So obviously, it's well, how bad are these secrets? Or are they secrets?
Well, I found out that my father was an associate of an early incarnation of the Gambino crime family.
Oh, an associate. I like how you
Yes.
say associate. That's good. Okay.
It's like a freelancer. You remember Goodfellas, you know, someone who's not made, but someone who works with the family and collects their own money instead of kicking it up to a captain. So I found out that he was in jail before I was born, something that my parents tried to keep from me for obvious reasons.
Because they knew you'd write a book.
Well, they didn't, but if they were alive today, I'd be grounded for a very long time, let me tell you.
So is that why you finally decided you could write the book, because they're no longer with us?
Yeah, well, right before my mother passed away, my father had already died 4 years before, she revealed some more secrets, that my father had actually killed some people in his line of work, which was stealing drugs. And I held on to this secret for about a year, and I let it fester, and then when I got a job at the New York Times, I decided to turn my journalistic microscope onto my own past, and I found FBI records, documents, and I decided, you know what, it's time to tell the story.
Now, would a mobster be happy that his daughter turned into a journalist? Like, what's the worst possible career that a mobster daughter could go
I think
into?
Journalist or cop, like,
Well,
right?
aside from that, yeah, I
Or
think
Stewie.
that it's incredibly ironic that his daughter became a journalist. I mean, when my father passed away, I was still in college and I was a theater major, so I thought I was going to be like Meryl Streep. But you know, I think if he found out that I was a journalist, yeah, it would probably be his worst nightmare.
No, I mean,
I'm sorry to hear of the passing of your parents.
Thanks.
And is the book kind of along the same lines of finding those dark secrets, or is it like a laugh riot?
Well,
or a cringe riot, maybe?
Well, it's bittersweet. I mean, I tell our lives up until like the book is almost divided into two parts. It's a memoir with me like kind of always getting partial truths from my mom, and then after they both pass, I decide to do some digging. But the memoir is just as much about cancer and losing parents to disease as it is to crime. And you know, there are some funny moments. My parents were masters of black humor, so there's a lot of you know.
Well, what was it like being, I mean, at the beginning of the book, you say it's divided into two parts, but at the beginning of the book, you don't really realize what's going on because you're younger and you're moving from place to place. You've got different names. You know, what was that like for you?
I thought it was totally normal. I thought it was absolutely normal that my father was known as Johnny in the house and Frank outside the house. I thought it was like, you know, William and Bill or Richard and Dick, just derivatives of the same name.
And last name always stayed the same or it changed?
Well, in school I was Jennifer Cassis, which was my parents borrowed a name from their friends. You know, like you borrow clothes. And you know, but I always knew my last name was Mascia. My mother made sure that I knew who I was no matter what.
So how was the process? You talked about your mother and the borrowing of names. So how was the process once you decided to actually write the book and pull everything together and the digging that you had to do?
Well, I did the digging first because I figured the memoir part I can always write, you know, because I knew it. It was my history. I went and got like FBI records, and there were some redacted pages, and I got crime files, and I interviewed family members. And then when I was done with that part, I spent a whole summer just writing about our lives together, and that was a transcendent experience. It brought them back to me. It brought them back to life.
So how was the family part? I mean, that part where you had to actually interview family members.
Yeah.
And did the rest of your
what did they
family
say?
know?
You know, I expected like doors shut in my face, but to my surprise, people were very supportive of the book, and they spoke, believe it or not. I mean, it did happen like 25 years ago.
But
so.
no one wanted to tell you when you were 16, 17, 18, 20?
No. Well, my mom and I were like best friends, and she kept me on a very tight leash. And I would really only ever go to her for information. You know, there was really no internet in 1995, so I couldn't just go online and look. So I would only really ask her about these things. But now that I was older, people felt free to talk, especially since unfortunately my parents aren't here. People spoke to me a lot. I was really surprised, happily surprised.
Was your father ever violent around you?
No, that's the thing. They were very, my father was never drunk around me. I learned he had, unfortunately, a lifelong cocaine habit.
Wow.
He was never high around me. My parents managed to keep me in kind of a bubble despite everything that was going on a certain level. I had kind of a normal childhood.
No, you have a degree.
Degree from Columbia Journalism, and so did you bring a lot of that training into putting together this book, or
I did.
or was it more like a therapeutic process?
It was both, actually. I was afraid I wasn't experienced enough to start. Like, I thought, well, maybe I should be a reporter for a few more years, but then I thought it's now or never, and thank God, because a lot of these documents, after 25 years, they're just destroyed, and I came right in time. But it really was. I mean, it was incredibly therapeutic. I mean, it was a transcendent
What's
experience.
the next book going to be?
Oh, don't ask me that.
Because
I know, right? Well, that's everyone asked me, what are you going to do now? I think I'm going to turn my my writing skills to nonfiction. You know, in my reporting duties, you know, I'm still going to, you know, I still work at the Times, and if I find a subject that I want to spend a year with or 2 years with, I'll write more nonfiction. But I'm definitely done with memoir. This was it.
Oh, I have to ask. So when they
Turn it into a movie?
Oh, everyone asks
you.
this.
Really? Oh, I thought it was original.
Well, no, everyone asks this. I've been told that Anne Hathaway and I resemble each other, but that was a few years ago, so I don't know, who do you think? Guesses? Anyone?
Well, at this point,
know,
Sandra
right?
Bullock should play you.
I'm
She
a
plays
guy.
everyone.
Sandra
right?
Bullock would be,
Yes.
that would be amazing. I mean, I think it needs to be someone in their in their 20s, because I was in my 20s when I went and started chasing down information. So, you know, as soon as we sell the movie rights, please.
Is it something in the works?
Yes, we're hoping.
Awesome.
So, you know.
Well, you say you want to write fiction, but sometimes the truth is stranger or more interesting than fiction. Everyone, you know, check out Never Tell Our Business to Strangers.
And
It's
read
a
the book first before you see the movie.
fascinating story.
The book is always better than the movie.
and a life you really lived. Well, thank you so much for coming and
Thanks so
talking
much.
to us.
This was great.
And as always, thank you for joining us on this episode of The District Dish.